So here we are. Welcome to Professional Witches. And today I am so excited to be talking to Einav Avni. I've pronounced that right, haven't I? Yeah.
Close enough.
Yes, enough. I'm sure people get it very wrong sometimes. So Einav is we have labeled Einav the Decoding Witch. And we'll find out more about that a bit later. So yeah, welcome Einav, and tell us a bit about why you are the Decoding Witch.
Yes, let's get right in there. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on this podcast. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you. The decoding witch, I guess, it came from the kind of energy healing that I use when I work with my clients, and I use the codes, the emotion code, the body code, and the belief code to help people clear the energy field from any physical, emotional, mental, spiritual blockages, to
Mhm.
help them heal, reduce their symptoms, and really give them the warmth that they've been missing for a while.
Mm. And I've experienced some of your healing because when we had some sessions before you did belief coding, and I think if you haven't heard of belief coding, you must have been living under some kind of rock lately, because like it seems like everyone in the healing world has done the belief coding in some form or another. But I've not heard of this emotion code and body code. So um, one by one, let's go. So for those who have been living under a rock, what's belief coding about?
The belief code is really interesting because it helps identify not just random limiting beliefs that we're kind of aware of, but actually it helps us discover the whole belief system and then take it apart, basically. So a
Mm.
limiting belief might be, these things always happen to me, or these things can never happen to someone like me, or I'm the kind of person who, we have this kind of statements that we constantly make about ourselves. So these statements like, I'll never be rich, or I'll never meet the right person, or, this kind of stuff. So these kind of statements help us to see that there is a belief system hiding underneath. And when we come to identify the belief systems, we really go and we find all of the different negative statements that make up this belief. Then we also want to find out what trapped emotions are contributing to this belief, because a lot of the time, for a belief to become, we have to have that thought again, 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 until it becomes stuck in our subconscious mind. And with thoughts, we also have feelings. So we want to find the trapped emotions, and then we also want to find the associated imbalances. These are more things that are keeping us stuck in the past. Like, yeah, there's a whole wealth of things that we can find. But when we release the whole belief system, that's it. It means that we can really release that thing that was holding us back, and now we can create a new reality for ourselves that is more positive, more empowering, and more aligned with what it is that we want for ourselves.
Mm. And it's such a powerful thing because it's not just about what kind of we might remember from this lifetime. Is that right? Because from some belief coding that I had in the past, um, it actually went into a past life, and I thought that's strange. But then I heard a load of other people say that they went into past lives through belief coding sessions. So um, yeah, I mean, what's that about? That's very, very unusual for that to, I don't know if that was intended when they developed belief coding, but is that
Well,
something you've experienced or?
you see, for me, it's not really something that I focus on, because I want to see what is here at the moment, and whether it came from when you were five, or when it came from, past life when you were 65 or 68. It's not so much important, because the important thing is to clear it.
Mm,
Um, and so usually I don't necessarily even ask for ages and when did it come about.
mm,
There's sometimes that we know that there's some statements that come from, parents and stuff, so we inherited them. Maybe our mom or our dad had this belief, a limiting belief, and then we took it on. But that's usually what I concentrate on. I imagine, like with anything else that I do, if I did want to see actually is that from a past life or from this current one, I'm sure I will find the answer. And I'm sure that would be quite fascinating too. Maybe
Mm.
something to think about, but not something that necessarily come up in the usual sessions that I hold.
Oh no, absolutely. And it wasn't expected either when I did it. I just, because you do the body compass thing and you go back, was it from this age? And it was like it was like a no on all of the ages. So I was like, is this a past life? And I just like went straight forward and it was like, oh my God, I'm getting tingles just thinking about when it happened now.
Yeah,
Obviously, completely unplanned and a bit kind of, okay, you got to deal with this now. But that's the way it is. And and I think we can deal with things that we didn't think we could deal with as well. And it's all part of the journey, isn't it? So that's belief coding. What about the other two? Because again, like body coding and emotion coding, what's going on with those? Are they separate other things? Are they tied in together? How does that work?
they're both, all of them, the whole three. They're really fascinating.
Mm.
The emotion code really, goes with the belief that because we own energy, when we go through emotional events or trauma that we can't process, the energy of the emotions become trapped in our body
Yeah.
and actually create blockages in our energy field. So when someone comes to me and they say, "Oh, I feel this," or "I have this pain," or same thing also about spiritual things like I can't find a job, for example. And then we can say, okay, let's find the trapped emotions that are contributing to this, whatever it is that you're experiencing. And then we use muscle testing. So slowly, we really we identify what trapped emotions are there and release them. Some of them we need to find the age. Some of them do come from past life. Some of them come from inherited, ancestral stuff. So we find them and release them. And the shift can be quite astonishing. Sometimes people feel it straight away as I as I release things. Sometimes they will need to go away and wait for the subconscious mind to process everything before they
Mm.
feel the shift. But
Mm.
one thing that the emotion code has, which is really, really powerful, not painful at all. There's no pain.
Well, let's be honest. Sometimes it can be a little bit painful, but that's needed to process, and it's nothing to be afraid of. Pain. This came from my childhood. Somebody once told me that pain is weakness leaving the body, and yeah, okay, that can be the truth. I mean, if you break a leg, that's really painful, and it's not necessarily weakness leaving the body. Could be argued. But yeah, it's an interesting sort of concept with the emotional side of things, I think.
So, sometimes people do feel emotional as we are releasing things, and then I like to tell them that really the way that we deal with emotions, or the way that emotions usually come about, is that they come up from, we get triggered, we see something, and so we get that trigger, and an emotion come in, and it peaks, and it takes about 90 seconds. It peaks, and then it leaves the body, and this is the normal way of processing emotions. But
Mhm.
sometimes something might come up and we say, well, this is not something that I'm ready to deal with at the moment. And so the emotion will try and come up, and then we literally say, not now, and we push it away, or we
Mm.
ignore it, or we, bury our head in the sand, or we do, we don't let it up. So when we release the emotions, sometimes the body says, right, this emotion, I now need to bring it up so that it can go again. So in
Mm.
some sessions, usually maybe the first one or two, some people can get a little bit emotional, but it's all good. In the bigger scheme
Yeah.
of things, we are releasing things.
Mm.
But the emotion called the powerful thing that I was talking about, this is something called the heart wall. And this is so powerful because our subconscious mind says, I can see that you're struggling, and I need to protect you in some way, and I can't. There's nothing I can actually do other than the thing it does is it grabs trapped emotions from around the body and then builds a wall around your heart. And now you're not as sensitive for events or for people or for things like that usually really bugs us. But you have that space between yourself and these things. But that is the good thing, of course, that you're more protected. But the not so good thing is that you now live from behind a wall. So all of a sudden you feel less connected, and maybe your energy is down, and maybe you feel like an outsider, or maybe you just feel like you're in darkness, right? As if you were really living behind a wall. And so when I release the heart wall, this is so phenomenal because people really feel the shift very, very quickly or very fast. And then, they have people stopping them in the street and say, "Oh, your energy, what is that with your energy is so glowing." And they always report back things like, "I feel calmer, I feel lighter, I feel like, same things, still happening, but I don't care about them in the same way." And
Mm,
this is categorically what people report back, and it's so wonderful. It really is.
mm. Yeah, that I mean that's really quite magical, isn't it? It's all about the way that we experience the thing that has been holding us back. Is just shifting the way we see it can manifest in much more helpful ways, I guess. So I
Yeah.
mean, in terms of people's, in the practicality, so they feel better, they have a glow. How does that tend to manifest in how they experience life after the sessions? Did it have profound changes in other things as well as?
With the heart wall specifically, I think this is really one of the fastest changes that people notice. Um, and like I say, yes, they do feel lighter, they do feel calmer. A lot of the time people would report sleeping better. And that thing I said, they say things still happen in life, same shit happens, but I don't care about it in the same way. And all of a sudden they find that they have the energy that was so busy worrying about other people or situations, or stuff that was maybe were annoying them. Now they can use this energy for other stuff. And maybe they have a very toxic office life, and all of a sudden they don't care about it anymore. They're just like, whatever, I'll just deal with my thing. They can all do their thing. So really, like, finding that path of getting back to themselves. What is the really important thing? I am more important than all of these. So yeah, that's kind of the things that they report back. And the good thing is that once we release anything, it doesn't come back. You can create it later, of course, again,
Mhm.
but once we release it, it doesn't come back.
Awesome.
So this is the heart wall, the emotion code. If I do, um, if someone comes to me and says they have a physical pain, for example, and I find that I need to release emotions, then they will also feel better. So if they have like neck ache, for example, I take all the emotions that contribute to this neck pain, and then they usually, say, "Oh, couldn't do that before." They're able to do things that was more painful, or that was stuck before.
Mm,
Um, so this is the emotion code, and then with the body code goes in a little bit deeper, and with that, it's not only the emotions that we can clear; it's also things like toxins and pathogens and misalignments. This is a place where we look at. There's one, because it's all in an app actually. So there is one section there that is called energy, and I quite like that because it really shows some clashes between our subconscious mind and our conscious mind. So there is something that is called no will to, and that's things that normally consciously we say, "Oh, of course I want this," but your subconscious mind says, because I can't protect you, I don't know what way it's going to lead, I'm going to say no. So for example, people that have chronic pain, for example, I constantly find things like no will to be healthy, for example. So consciously, of course, I want to be healthy, but subconscious mind says, if you are healthy, maybe you will go back to, doing everything that is out of your alignment, and so it's better for us that we continue to be not healthy.
that
Um,
I think is going to be a big one for people. I think people are going to hear that bit there and they're going to say, well, sorry, I'm sweary. I'm going to try not to swear because we're on a public forum, blah, blah. But yeah, they're going to say like, oh my goodness, that is why I'm constantly self-sabotaging on my health efforts. How many people intend to do the right things and yet for one reason or another sort of find ways to sabotage themselves? And it's not a conscious thing, clearly not a conscious thing.
Yeah.
And right there is a path for them to open up to to sort of solving that. It's really powerful work.
It really is powerful, and it is really fascinating because it really brings all these things that, like you say, are completely subconscious. They bring it into your awareness, and now we can have a conversation about it. If you can hear my dog, then apologies.
I can't actually hear your dog, but anybody who's ever seen me on Facebook Live will know my dogs are the noisiest dogs in the world, and they're fast asleep behind me on the behind this screen is a bed and a sofa, and they're completely spark out and hear any of it. Yeah, you can hear me sniffing because I've got hay fever. That's about it. No, couldn't hear your dog, sorry. It wouldn't be a problem if you could. It would just be your dog talking to my dogs, and they would take over the podcast, which I don't know, maybe more interesting.
Indeed.
So tell me what kind of what got you into doing this in the first place? I mean, what were you always in healing work? Were you doing other things before you got into this? And to throw a third question into the whole thing, when did you start doing this kind of work?
Right. So no, I wasn't always into all of that. I mean, before I started my coaching career, I was in IT. I was a user experience designer, and I loved that job. And it felt very good. It really felt like a right kind of combination of conversations with people and also the creativity side. It was really good. Slowly, I found that there was too much politics, which I didn't connect with so well. And then I had to have a think of what is it that I really want. And the people side really came out, really came through. And I was like, okay, coaching felt like the right option. So I was freelancing, so I finished my last contract, and then I really literally just stopped, jump ship, as I like to say. And I went to do my coaching and mentoring training. That took a year. It was a year-long course. In that, I also did the NLP course and then master practitioner of NLP. And then in that master's course, my teachers they did a demonstration about the mind-body connection. And so one of my colleagues had a chronic neck pain that lasted for, I think, about 7 years, 14 years, something like that. I think 14 years it was. And in 2 hours, just by talking to her about emotions, what happened then, what happened now, what's in between, 2 hours of these kind of questions, her neck pain disappeared from level 7 to 0 in 2 hours.
Wow.
And I was like, how come no one is talking about this? Like this is incredible. I was so mind blown by this, experience. And I thought, okay, I flagged it for later. I kind of parked it there. And then when I finished all of my training, I went out, to Facebook world, and I was like, hey, let's connect, let's heal. I was really excited about sharing this message. And with my naivety, I didn't realize that actually there are people out there that have been suffering for such a long time. And then me telling them they can heal wasn't actually going to hit home in the way that I wanted or thought or expected or whatever. But and they became really angry, and they were like really fighting back. And they said, I've been ill for so many years, and it took me such a long time to convince everyone of my symptoms and what I was feeling. And here you are telling me I can heal. So really, what does it mean about me and everything that I've experienced?
The real sort of personal, they take it as a personal attack almost, that they failed in their healing,
Well,
which
it's
is
like
it's like a defense mechanism. I found.
I
I've
think
noticed a similar thing in people.
I think it's because it's in the identity level. And they like, if you tell me that I can heal now, first of all, it really maybe means that I made it up. It was all in my head. And that is really, And
Like you
that's
can
something
heal
I
me
never
just by
thought of.
talking about it when I've got these physical symptoms that people don't compute. They've been told so long that emotional problems and physical problems are separate things. That's an illusion. It's an illusion of separation. Separation is the biggest illusion in my mind in this planet. Like everything is connected. Yes, your mind and your body are connected. Of course they are. A healthy body means your brain is healthy. Then a healthy brain creates healthy thoughts, and it's yeah. Anyway, that's another rabbit hole to go down. But
No,
no,
but
absolutely.
this is exactly it. It is exactly correct. We are everything is connected. But at that point, because their doctors never told them, hey, check your emotions, check your stress. The doctors never said any of that. And
Mm,
and all of a sudden, when I say, hey, you can't heal, they were like, what the hell, basically
mm,
go away. And I did actually. I immediately understood that this was too big for me, and I wasn't ready to deal with people's anger, and I just really ran away. And then I thought, okay, I'll basically connect with this other thing that I really like talking about, and this is basically understanding that we have a negative voice that is so powerful that it really is holding us back from everything that we want in life, basically. So we have a negative voice, we have the other side, which is our unconscious mind, our soul, our intuition, and these two are constantly in fighting, in clashing. And so I went ahead and I was, I called myself confidence and empowerment coach. And I was really talking about these two voices and how when we understand the negative voice and we understand the lies that it tells us, we can start dialing it down and then tune into our empowerment. Um, so that was there for a while. And then about three, 3 years ago, I think, a client, my first client, arrived with chronic pain. And at that time, I didn't have any of the energy healing stuff. So he came, he had pain levels of 9, 10 out of 10 constantly. He couldn't walk, couldn't talk. He could talk actually. He couldn't lie down. He couldn't sit. He couldn't. It was terrible for him. And then just in conversations, we start, talking about the negative voice, talking about patterns, talking about choices. Just in that first conversations, his pain level went into, 7 out of 10.
mm,
After months, it was just so painful. So, of course, he came back and then we continued the conversations. And in no time, pain level went down to around 3. And
mhm,
then we needed to continue drilling down until it finally disappeared completely.
mm.
And and I was like, yeah, the universe is obviously clearly thinking I'm ready. So then I did my first certificate in the emotion code, and changed everything. And now I do the energy healing of the codes, and I combine the conversations about the negative voice with that.
Mhm.
So so really having that beautiful combination of saying, hey, it's not only that I can release trapped emotions and blockages from your energy field, I'm actually going to teach you how when you let go of the fears and limitations and compromises and embody instead the trust and harmony and alignment, you never have to experience any of these chronic conditions again because you would have understood the message, how to get back to your core. You're no longer compromising. You're actually getting back to your actual life trajectory of what you came here to do. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing for me. I am very grateful for for
Yeah, I
finding.
mean, and it's hugely rewarding, isn't it, to see your clients go from this, this pre-state. You feel like Yoda, don't you, in the hero's journey? You're like you take these people with this huge problem and giving them the tools. You're not, yeah, you're like facilitating a healing, really, isn't it? It's
Mm,
allowing them to heal themselves through their own realizations, and that's it. When you see like pennies dropping and connections being made, and yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Yeah,
it really is.
incredibly powerful. And I've experienced your healing power for myself. And it was my shoulder, wasn't it? I remember my shoulder and a neck pain, and there was all sorts of things, and then the more you were unpicking in the series, it was like, oh my God, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you picked up on things that, like, oh, there was a thing when you were 4, and like blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, no, well, that would have been this, that, and the other. And it's like, how does she know this? How does she know this? I don't know. It's trust the process, and all will be revealed. But yeah, it's really, really incredibly powerful stuff. So
Yeah. But when you
yeah.
say facilitator, that's exactly that, because I become like the translator between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And
Mm,
people say, yes, how do you know? And I'm like, I didn't know, but you told me. Your subconscious mind told me that. And now I can bring it into your conscious awareness. And now you can start looking at it in a different way, or at least understand some of the things that
mm,
made it where it is, where you are at the moment.
mm.
So subconscious mind, knows exactly what brought you to where you are today. And so it also knows how to release it, so that and go back to how, your best version, basically. So that's why it's so powerful. Really,
Yeah.
really powerful.
There's this thing, isn't there, where you connect to the client's higher self, um, and that for me is quite a special thing. It's a similar in my tarot work. I connect to the higher self, and sort of see it's different methodology, obviously different problems that we're solving for clients, but that connection to the client's higher self, that's really, I think, where sort of the empath side to us comes into it. And yeah, it's sort of, yeah, it's a special thing. It's yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but it just I think what I'll find, the more people, the more witches I interview in this series, the more that is going to be a theme, is that you've got to, because people themselves are, I think, quite disconnected from their own higher selves, but it's always there with that voice.
Exactly. And for me,
Yeah.
that's why I don't just want to do the healing. I really do want to do the conversations as well,
Mm,
because it's, if I just release all of the blockages from your energy field, you'll just go back and do exactly the same thing. So
yeah.
not, I mean, yeah, some relief, but not profound. And
Mm,
when we have conversations and people really understand how they create the situations that they're at, or then they know how to change it.
mm,
And I really believe that chronic conditions are not here as a life sentence. They're not here as a punishment. They're here to say, hey, you were so far off the trajectory that you were meant to go on in this life, that I had to give you this little opportunity to pause and
mm.
reassess.
It's
Check
like
out.
yeah, like a block. Stop doing this. You need to come back to this. And
Exactly.
and in causing this problem for you, it's an invitation for you to seek out a solution that will put you back on the right path.
Yeah.
That, I love that.
It's because a lot of the time, chronic conditions, especially, they come, a lot of the people that have certain personality traits are more likely to have, suffer from chronic conditions. So, for example, people who are perfectionists, or people pleasers, or people that constantly need to put other people's ahead of themselves. So they are constantly in this very high state of alert, and this is stress, and the stress, the body can't take it so much. It takes it and takes it, and then it says enough. I,
Mm,
I really can't. So it's either you do something about it, or I will. And then when
mm,
the body says, puts the stop and says, that's it, now you have a chronic condition, and that will show you exactly what it is that you were not doing, or doing too much of, that brought you to this position. So the thing about perfectionism, for example, it's really quite amusing, because sometimes people say, "Yes, I'm a perfectionist," and they kind of dismiss it. But
mm.
sometimes people, they can't. Everything has to be perfect, and this is such a
Yeah.
huge amount of pressure that
I mean,
the
some
whole
some
life.
people even sort of wear it as a badge of honor without sort of really twigging what it means. Oh, I'm a perfectionist. Oh no, 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 no. It's got to be perfect. Blah blah blah. Like it's a good thing, and like this whole glossy. magazine style of life is a good thing, but I mean, in reality, it's not achievable. I mean, it may be in the short term, but how many people like them burn out, or they get so uptight that they stop like almost like communicating with the outside world beyond their bubble, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, any of these perfectionism, people please, all of that really means that you are so focused on something that is so not you
Mm,
that it's a lot of stress. And really, when I have the conversations with people and I say, really, at the core of it, life is so simple. You really don't, any of this is not important. It's not important what he said or she said. It's not important if the conversation was perfect. It's not important if, someone looked at you the way that, that you wanted it. It's not important if someone didn't, call you back. The important thing is really here, in the here and the now.
mm,
What is important for you? What brings you joy? What helps you connect, with the things that really matter to you? It
mm,
really is not about, perfectionism and all of that. But yeah, it takes time to learn to how to undo. And some people, of course, add to that is everything that they've learned in childhood, for example, with horrendous stories of upbringing and stuff like that. Then people, they're like, this is who I am. I don't know how to undo this. I don't know how to change this. And also, can I trust that if I do this, I will still be me? There's a whole lot of places that what we brought earlier about the clash between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. This is how they come out, because you can really see that there is so much fear that they're going against what is really in the higher good.
mm,
So
mm.
it really is fascinating conversations with people, and then the healing is just a bonus afterwards, because the conversations really help people understand how to change things,
Mm.
how they behave or how they feel or how they um they
So
approach
it's
things.
like the healing is a byproduct of the understanding and the conversations that the client had, as much as the fact that the illness, the chronic illness or the physical problem is a byproduct of that person being off course for their life purpose. That's a
Exactly.
byproduct, it's a symptom, isn't it? It's not the cause. And this is for me, I can go on a rant now if I wanted, about society and how it's profoundly. There's a phrase: it's no measure of health to be well adapted to a profoundly sick society, and society wants us to be certain things, and so often those things are not what we are, who we are, and so it drags us so off course. And there's all this information coming at us that ourselves here fighting for space gets crowded in by all of this stuff, and it's hard to find who you are underneath all of that, um and then to allow that self to expand with all of this stuff pressing down. It's a challenge, but this is why people like you and people like me and people like all of the other professional witches that I'll be talking to will be, we're so important in expanding this message. So yeah, it's, I mean, such powerful
It really is. I mean, when we, peel off untangling, when we peel off the layers, and we can see how much misery there is because of, expectations and conditionings and things like that. And these are exactly the thing to say, actually, why do you care? Is this your truth? Do you really care? If you don't care about it, why do you fight for it so much?
mm,
Let go. And I can see it in so many different things. I say not needed.
yeah, it's like,
Find your own truth.
is it for you, or is it because you're worried about what XYZ person will think about you? Or because, like, really at the end of the day, the only person whose approval you really need is your own.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a lesson that so many people still have to learn, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I work with people, you know, and it's the religion, for example, and my parents expect me to follow their religion, so here I am. Or, my parents depend, of course, on cultures. My parents expect me to be married by this age, and I'm not. And now I'm, so stressed about it. And yeah, actually, like I say, it's not. I mean, of course, you want to please.
Mm,
You want to fulfill expectations, you want to do all of that. And in the end, what happens is that all of your life is very external and you forget yourself. And then you feel like a victim because you don't get the approval or the encouragement to do your thing because everyone is telling you off about everything. Every time that you try to be authentic, there was someone there to say no. So, here you are.
yeah, and it can lead to great sense of hopelessness and helplessness. And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to round things off, if you were to give one core message to all the listeners that will hopefully, the one thing that you found is the most life-changing message, the one thing that keeps coming up time and again with your clients, maybe, if you could say one thing as like your legacy, your message to the world, what would that be?
Well, I guess there's a couple of things that kind of tie in together, but really is to know that there is always another way. There is always a choice. If someone has been just diagnosed with something and they went to the doctor and the doctor said, well, there's no relief, no cure. Maybe here's some pills to ruin your liver and your kidneys in the process.
Mm,
You don't have to take it as the gospel that this is the truth and only truth. Actually, turn around, go and ask some questions, find your choice because people come to me. I had someone with fibromyalgia or psoriasis, things that doctor says there is no cure, and
mm,
these people walking around symptoms free.
mm.
There is a way, there is a choice, there is always another way. Please don't just take what the doctor say, blindly, and go and ask some questions, have conversations, and find your own truth. There is always a way. There is always a way. I think that is my message.
Yes, and absolutely wholeheartedly back that. I know of many people who have been told by doctors that what they have is incurable, and they've gone away and done their own research, which is a bit of a loaded term these days, isn't it? Do your own research, but it genuinely have gone on and actually self-empowered and healed themselves through better nutrition, through yeah, better, healthier thinking, diet, lifestyle, all of these things. So yeah, doctors don't necessarily know it all.
I mean, I know some things. Of course,
They
I'm
know some
very,
things,
very
and don't
grateful
get
to
me
them.
wrong. If I break a leg, not being funny, I know I'm going to go to A&E. I'm not going to say, police code me out of my broken leg, but that's do you know what I mean? There's a place for everything, but people put too much reliance, I think, on mainstream sort of medicine and take a pill rather than look into other alternatives a bit too much. Sometimes pills are a good thing, sometimes they're not so good, and you know that's the thing.
Yeah, but I see people, not only the people that I work with, but also, of course, the people that come, for example, for my podcast, and we talk about their way of healing naturally, and it's mind blowing.
Mm,
And I think it's so important. It's so important to bring this message. Um, but yeah, I mean, you asked one message, so I guess
yeah, well, there are many,
yeah.
I guess. No, but definitely, and to all the listeners, do go and check out Einav's podcast as well, and you can drop me some links as well, Einav, and I'll pop them in the show notes. But if there's one place to go, if people are like, no, I need to speak to this woman right now, where is the place to find you? Where will people go?
And my website, Untangled Healing, is probably the best place to go. It has all the information, and I think, hey, let's just come and have a chat. Let's connect. There's no strings attached. Let's have a chat. if I feel I can help you, I will say so. And if I think, oh, I can't, then I won't.
Fair dues. Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll pop all the links to get in touch with Einav in the show notes. And thank you so much. The Decoding Witch has
Yeah.
spoken. And yeah, what a powerful message it was. So,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you very much.